Those shots I just showed you are my shop. Okay? Cluttered, kind of messy, but at the same time it's organized. I know where most everything is. People come in my shop and they look at my tools and they, wow, where'd you get all this stuff? I've actually even had them say, well, who gave you all this? This is at least a 43-year collection. So, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the craft. We're going to talk about people's attitudes, the changing in people's attitudes, and kind of the way I see things and things that kind of irritate me. And I'm just going to get on my soapbox for a while. So, here we go. It seems here lately, and I say lately, probably the last year, 2 years, to me, that there's a lot more people interested in blacksmithing and bladesmithing and metalcraft. And in part is due to the TV shows that are on right now. I've never seen any of them because, first of all, I don't have a TV. I haven't had a TV in years. But everywhere I go, everybody asks me if I've watched this or I've watched that, or did I see this, did I see that. And it's usually followed by, it's really got my interest up in blacksmithing. And then usually shortly afterwards, it's, followed by, I'd really like to do it, but I don't have any money or I can't afford the tools. So the first part of this rant is going to be just some advice. You don't need tools. You don't need money to just get involved. Just about every state has a state blacksmithing organization or a regional blacksmithing organization, and then they usually have satellite groups. Here in Indiana we have the Indiana Blacksmithing Association, and at this time we have 14 satellite groups. Somewhere in the state of Indiana, every weekend of the year, there is some kind of hammer-in going on somewhere in the state. Okay? They don't cost anything other than maybe, bringing a dish for the pitch-in meal, buying, $4 or $5 worth of tickets for the iron and the hat to help support the group. But other than that, it doesn't cost you anything. You can't beat that. You show up, there's blacksmiths that are more than willing to show you, how to get started and give you advice. And most of it's pretty good advice, So you don't need a whole lot of money to get involved in this. You really don't. Now it is an infectious disease, and it turns into, well, I really would like to have this or I'd like to have that. And if you buy everything, yeah, you're going to spend a lot of money. But if you learn to make your own tools or make your own stuff, it's a lot cheaper. And some of you are saying, well, I don't have those skills. None of us did. Okay? They're required. You have to work at it. This involves work. Okay? And we'll get on to another part of that rant here in a little bit. But anyway, when it comes down to tools, like I said, you can make a lot of tools, and the more that you do this, the more that you'll realize, this would be handy for this, or this would be handy for that, and you can't buy it anyway. So you have to make it. So you need to invest a little bit of time and maybe take a community college welding course or something, and learn how to weld, at least good enough to stick some stuff together. Preferably better than that, but learn to weld, invest a little time, so that you can make the jigs and things. A lot of the tools you can forge as you progress. And an anvil's expensive, and they get more expensive every day. But you don't need an anvil. You can, a lot of people use railroad track. I prefer just a round drop of a, you know, let's just say an 8-10 inch drop, round drop, oh I don't know, 24-30 inches tall, from your local job shop, you know, scrap. And it's still going to cost you. They're not going to give it to you free. But, you know, you don't have to start off with an anvil. Forges, I've built the gas forge behind me. I've built a lot of gas forges. Everything to build this forge is on the Artist Blacksmiths Association of North America's webpage, the Ron Reel website, or the Ron Reel pages that they maintain. Coal forges. You know, I've built many coal forges. They don't have to be complicated. Okay, so you can build your own forge, things like that. You know, the web's full of all kinds of information, some good, some bad. You know, take it for what it's worth. But you can make the vast majority of your own tools. So that covers the money part of it. Okay, now my next rant is probably my favorite rant of all when I get started on it, and that is, you know, when people walk up to me, you know, and they say, you know, I've been at this about 1.5 years, 2 years, and I've only made a couple of nice things. The rest of it's been crap. What are you trying to make? Well, I'm trying to make a Viking axe, or I'm trying to make a sword, or, you know, I'm trying to make an ornate trellis for my girlfriend. You know, Michelangelo did not paint the Sistine Chapel on his first day. Okay? You need to start out small. You need to make small things like S-hooks. You need to make small things, you know, like little wall brackets. Just small stuff. There's all kinds of small projects that, especially now with YouTube, that are on the web, both in YouTube and on the web itself. All kinds of nice small little projects, you know. And there's no shame in starting out with small, because you need to learn how the metal moves. You need to learn hammer control. You need to learn the basics. It'll make the things a whole lot easier for you. You know, make 1 S-hook, make 2, make 10. See the difference between the first one and the 10th one. You know, take a piece of metal, punch holes in it. That's the only way you're going to get good at punching holes. Okay? Yeah, I use a drill a lot, but I punch a lot of holes. I use a bandsaw a lot, but I slit a lot of steel. It's basic skills that you need to work on. Okay? So that's my next rant. You know, you can't start out wanting to make a, you know, broadsword. You shouldn't, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. You need to learn how the metal moves. You need to learn the basics. It's like anything else. Okay? Be careful of where you get your information. Okay? There's a lot of good stuff out there. There's a lot of bad stuff. Okay? Everybody has their own way of doing things. But there is a right way and there is a wrong way. Okay? I've had people, there is no wrong way. This summer I watched a guy teaching another individual, a young man, how to make a knife, and they were welding a high carbon piece into a horseshoe, and I watched them heat the pieces up, set them down on the anvil, sprinkle the flux onto the piece while it was sitting on the anvil, and then trying to forge weld it while it was still sitting on the anvil cold. okay? I gave that young man considerable amount of hell on the way home that night because he deserved it. He knew better than that. He knew that that wasn't going to work, but this individual came across as something that he wasn't, and rather than using it common sense, the young man was hoping that, you know, he would learn something, and he did learn something. He learned that, you know, not everybody is what they appear to be. But you need to learn the basics. You need to do a lot of reading. Don't just take YouTube for what it is. You know, do a lot of reading. I have a lot of books. I read a lot of books. I read a lot of things on the internet. Back to Abana, the Abana has a wealth of information on their web page. You just have to want to read it. But anyway, so that's another rant. Let's talk about tools some more again. I've had people ask me, well, where did you get all your tools? This is probably a 43-year accumulation of tools that I have. I didn't just buy them yesterday. I just didn't make them all yesterday. Okay? I might have got a few the day before. But you have to start somewhere. Just about a week ago, there was some young gentlemen in my shop, and one of them asked me where I got all my chisels and how much they cost me. And I told him, I said, well, they didn't cost me a dime. They were free? I said, no, I didn't say they were free. I said they didn't cost me a dime. Okay? And then I proceeded to explain to him that, you know, most of the chisels and punches, matter of fact, all of them in there, I've made, I've forged. And most of the ones that I have forged. I might have taken an old punch or an old chisel and reforged it for what I needed. But most of them I forged from coil spring, okay, and the occasional Allen wrench. So they weren't free. I've got sweat equity in these, okay. So no, they didn't cost me any money, but they weren't free. I've had people say, do you have any old tools that you don't want that maybe you could, you know, that you could give me? No, I really don't. I've had a few things given to me, and I've been really grateful for having them given to me. And I've given tools to friends and things like that. But I don't give tools away much at all. Okay. So, you know, tools are expensive. Buy the best tools you can with the money you've got and make the best tools you can with your hands. And then take care of them. Okay? Oh, I have people tell me, you make it look so easy. You know, you don't understand that, you know, the trouble I'm having because, you know, you make it look so easy. Oh, trust me. I understand the problems you're having. I've had the same problems, and sometimes I still have the same problems. It takes time. You know, it takes time to learn this craft. It takes time to get good at this craft. But back to what I said earlier, in order to get good at this craft, you have to learn the basics. Okay? Oh, let's touch on, you know, what you make, what you buy, you know, what choices you make, okay? Now over the years, I've taken 4 classes. I took 3 classes at John C. Campbell Folk School, and then I took one, a hammer class by Nathan Robertson several years ago, right prior to the IBA conference, Indiana Legislature Conference at Tipton. And I learned to make hammers. And I dabbled with making hammers before that. So I make hammers, and this is a hammer I made for making leaves and natural art forms. You'll notice the peen is curved. You can't buy one like that. The peen is curved. It's a cross peen, but it's curved. And then the face has got a little more curvature than your average hammer. This is one of my favorite hammers, okay? But, having said that, a friend of mine also makes hammers. And he went down and took Lyle Wynn's Tools to Make Tools class. And I will say this, the man made good use of his time. He took notes, he paid attention, and he came back with a lot of knowledge and puts that knowledge to use. The man makes wonderful tools. He makes wonderful hammers. So I don't make my hammers anymore. I've purchased 3 hammers off this gentleman. Actually, I've purchased 2 hammers, and in one, him and I worked together on, and when we forged it in my shop. So I do buy tools, especially good ones. These are good hammers. Recommended to anybody. They're made by Steve King. But anyway, so I choose to buy hammers and not make them. I've got another friend of mine who he's very adamant about that. He's going to make his own hammers. He's going to make his own tools. That's all well and good, you know, to each his own. And I'll make more hammers. But these are nice. I'm spoiled. Okay, so while we're talking about tools and things and what to make and what not to, I make tongs and sometimes I sell tongs. Okay? And I've got racks, as you saw in the first footage of this, I've got racks of tongs. Some of them I've made, some of them are, you know, flea market tongs, back when you could get tongs at flea markets. Some I've acquired here and I've acquired there. Okay? So I make tongs, but I also, you know, I buy older tongs because I can always reshape them, reforge them into something that I can use. Jigs and things. You can buy benders. You can buy benders, you know, all shapes, all sizes, you know. Then there's some nice benders out there. Most of my bending jigs, you saw in the footage earlier, a shelf full of jigs and stuff. Most of my bending jigs are pieces of pipe, pieces of rod, all shapes, all sizes, that I use for bending things. I've got some pliers that I've welded. Let me see if I can find it. I've got old junk pliers that I've welded pieces of pipe on. You can hook the piece right there and you can scroll it around. Same thing this, with a little bit bigger. Things like that. So I make most all, well, I can't remember the last time I bought a jig. Oh yeah, I do. A friend of mine had bought some tools from a man who was retired, and he had some really nice scrolling jigs, and I actually did buy the scrolling jigs. But that was just because I got them for, you know, probably a quarter of what they cost new. And I thought I might use them sometime in the future, and I will. Small tools, you know. This is one of the handiest tools I've got. It's just a little homemade screwdriver. I've got 2 or 3 of these hanging around everywhere. At any workbench, I can reach over and I can grab it and I can pry and I can bend, you know, and I don't tear up a expensive screwdriver doing it. The C-clamp. A long time ago the foot come off of it, you can buy new feet, I know that. But I've got about 4 of these where I've taken and I've cut the C-clamp off. I've welded a piece of angle iron to it, and then you can tack it onto the bench and you can use it to clamp things down. So I modify some tools to do what I want, you know, things like that. So there's another little treatise on tools. I am more than happy to share with you this thing called blacksmithing. But nothing makes me madder than to be trying to help someone who has asked for my help and for them to not let me finish a sentence before they start telling me, well, I saw it done this way and I saw it done that way. You know, especially when they invoke the name of TV shows. What people need to remember is TV shows, the vast majority of them are entertainment. They're not education, they're entertainment. Reality TV is not reality. Okay? If you ask for somebody's help, listen. Take the time to listen. Give them that courtesy. You may not agree with the advice that they give you or the way they show you how to do it, but you ask them for that help. Take the time to listen. Okay? When you start progressing, people will start asking you questions. If you don't know the answer, don't make up an answer. Because they may actually know the answer to that question or part of the answer, and when you start making up an answer, they're going to know you're full of crap. Okay? So if somebody asks you a question, either tell them, you know, I really don't know, I'll have to check into that, or, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm still learning, I haven't got to that point yet. Don't try to BS people. Don't do that. Same gentleman last year, same place. State fair. When he would talk to the crowd, and he would sensationalize his facts. Forge welding was done at 4,000 degrees. As we all know, forge welding isn't done at 4,000 degrees. People will always ask you, you know, have you ever been burnt? And my standard answer is, you know, there's probably not a day that goes by that I don't get burnt. Okay. His standard answer was he would point to areas on his body and say, you know, I got this burn here, I run a piece through here, you know, but everywhere he was pointing to was covered, so you know, there wasn't, you know, you couldn't tell if there was any scars or anything. You know, just stick with the facts. This craft is sensational enough without having to, you know, introduce drama into it. You know, that's just how I see it. But I just had something else go through my mind, and I wanted to cover it, and it's gone already. So, oh yes. I want people who are new to the craft to truly enjoy the craft, to learn and to enjoy it. A lot of people get interested into this because of the TV shows. If that's how you got interested in it, that's all well and good. A lot of people they come to a couple meetings, or they come over here to my shop and try a couple times, and they realize that it's hot, it's sweaty, it's dirty. You know, in the winter it's cold and hot at the same time. You know, in the summer it's just downright hot. You know, you get burnt. You're going to get burnt. It's not a matter of if you get burnt, it's when you get burnt. You're going to get burnt. Okay? It's not for everyone, and that's fine. If you try it and decide that it's not for you, more power to you. You know, find something you do enjoy. Don't force yourself to do something you don't want to do. That's another reason why you want to try the guild meetings, the association meetings, things like that, is because you get a chance to try it without investing a whole lot of money. The only thing you're investing is time. And it's time well spent whether you decide it's what you want to do or not, because you had that experience. So, you know, it's not for everybody. You know, I truly love this craft. I enjoy it. I enjoy teaching it. I enjoy working with young people. I enjoy working with old people. I just want people to understand that, you know, those of us that have been in this craft for a while, you know, we didn't have anything given to us. We had to learn things the hard way, just like you're going to learn, okay? Even if you take classes, which will make it easier, they're still hard, okay? So, ease into it. Don't expect to have anything given to you. Expect to work. Be careful. I'm the worst person in the world with safety. I preach safety, but I'm the worst person in the world. Most of my videos, if you watch them, I don't have my safety glasses on, and I should have. I don't have earplugs in, and I should have. You know, but be safe. Be careful. I've been at this since I was a teenager, and I still got 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 eyeballs. You know, think before you do something. It's real easy to get in a hurry and, you know, not think about something and get hurt. Don't run. Don't get in a hurry. Biggest mistake people make, beginners' mistakes, is they think they have to hurry because the steel's going to cool off. It'll heat up again. So get it out of the forge, get it out of the fire, work it, put it back in the fire, let it heat up to a nice good heat. Don't pull it back out red. Let it get up to an orangish yellow heat, depending on what you're doing. You know, let it get to a good heat, pull it out. There's no use working cold steel because you're in a hurry, because you're defeating your purpose. Because it takes longer to work cold steel, plus you're probably ruining the piece. Listen to people. Make choices. Make intelligent choices. Okay? Thanks for your time. Bye.